Hi guys, Michael from MMA Island here interviewing UFC featherweight Josh Culibao. Man, huge win last weekend, or I guess it was the weekend before that, against Shailin Norden-Becca, the guy debuting, and man, 14 takedowns attempted, and he only got 2, and you pop right back up. Let me just ask you, man, how does it feel to get the win?
Oh, it's huge relief. I felt like my back was against the wall on this one. Um, yeah, coming in, one loss, one draw, which I thought I won. To me, it was sort of like 2 losses back to back. So I felt like my back was against the wall on that one. So I felt the pressure for sure, but I think I do so much better under that bright light when there's pressure on.
So obviously you're a great striker. You've shown that throughout your career how good of a striker you are. But just from a standpoint of defending the takedown, I appreciated how like 14 times and only getting 2. And this dude comes from, you were even mentioned this, he comes from lightweight and like he's dropping down to your division, featherweight, and he shoots 14 times and he only gets 2 and you pop right back up. How much do you work on your takedown defense?
He's known in Sydney as one of the best wrestling gyms, in all of the country. We have an Olympian as one of my coaches. He actually competed in the 2000 Olympics, and then we have a couple of Slovakian guys that came from Slovakia that train in our gym that were like highly ranked in the world. One of them's like was at least 1 point ranked like in the top 5 in the world at under 68 kilos or 69 kilos or something like that. So our gym is booming with a lot of really good high level wrestlers. So it's actually like one of those hidden things in our gym where people think, oh, Josh is just a striker, but our gym is full of really high level wrestlers. So.
Yeah. So another question about the fight is did you expect that to happen? Did you expect him to just be, because he was looking for takedowns, not just like wrestling, like he was like trying to bring you to the cage and then shoot for the takedown. He's trying to pressure you with footwork and everything. Did you expect him to take that sort of game plan to the fight?
Yeah, for sure. Like all his fights lead to one similar thing of him having success is him usually taking his opponents down and then him riding on top and usually either pounding him out or getting a submission from the pressure he puts on top of people. So I knew that was his like real only way of getting the win, or him just catching me off guard with like a big loopy right hand or a big lunging left hook, something that's something out of the blue. But that for him, I think his biggest success was to try to get the fight to the mat, obviously, and then so that's what we planned for.
So I'm assuming that you're with me on this, because whenever I show MMA stuff to casual fans, like friends or anything, they always ask like, wow, what is with the stare downs? I love the stare downs just because it's like you're looking into their soul and your stare down. I didn't expect it to be that way, but that was pretty intense. And how do you feel about when that sort of thing happens? When they try to get that sort of mental advantage?
I Nah, I love it. I love it. I love that competitiveness. I love seeing that this guy's, he's showing me that he's willing, he's willing to throw down. He's willing to, he's coming at his best and he's ready to go. So I love that, knowing that he's here to fight. He's not here to back down. So I enjoy it in the competitive aspect. But I think it was more so a language barrier. So Mick Maynard was in between us, and we're staring down, and when we walk on the stage to do our stare down, we meant to exit the other way. And because he entered first, his back was towards where we're meant to walk out towards. And because I was staring him down, I don't think he understood like whether he was meant to turn around or whether we were meant to walk back where I was meant to walk back. So I thought it was like a little bit of a language barrier, but yeah, the stare down just increased because like he didn't know where to go and he didn't want to back down. And I didn't want to stop looking at him. So I just kept staring at him as well. So it just became more intense, I guess, without us really even knowing. So
that is funny. Yeah, so I've always seen that anytime there's stare downs, they're always like, do we go this way, this way? It's always awkward. And the person turns around, they're like, no, go this way. So yeah, and I saw your post-fight interview, and you were saying how you didn't really feel like a UFC fighter until you got this win. So if one win makes you a UFC fighter, what could 2 do for you?
No, it wasn't so much that. It was always just a mindset thing. Yes, I'm already a UFC fighter because I've fought in the UFC 3 times now, but it was more so of a mindset thing where I I felt like I had this like cloud hanging over me that was like, oh, you know, you can't really call yourself a UFC fighter till you get your first win. You're more so just a participant in these fights, you know. But that's my sort of mentality got like with the whole fights. Like I know a lot of guys that will get to the UFC and get battered and, come up short notice fight, get battered, and then get kicked from the UFC. And then now to this day, they're still calling themselves UFC fighters. Like, no, you're not a UFC fighter, or they call themselves UFC veterans. You're not a UFC veteran. Like, you've had one fight, short notice, get battered, then you get kicked. You can't really call yourself a UFC fighter. So for me, it was more so like that sort of thing where I was like, I'm not just gonna be a part of being a UFC fighter, even though I got my ass kicked. I was a undefeated featherweight champion in 4 different organizations in my country, and then for me to get to the biggest world stage and then to drop 3 fights in a row, it's not a good look on our country's what is it? Our country's like talent here. If I'm supposedly the best talent coming out of Australia, and for me to drop 3 fights in a row it's not a good sign. So it was more so like a mentality thing.
Now they can't say that because you got the win. So and just going back to the fight again, seeing how good your takedown defense was. I'm not sure how many times Turner or Jordan shot on you, but your takedown defense was at 100%. And it's now at 86. I'm pretty sure it is now. But like that's still crazy high with the amount of takedowns that have been shot at you. But with how good your takedown defense clearly is, it might make your opponent want to say, hey, okay, well, if I can't take him down, I got to strike with them. And I assume you welcome that. So just talk to me about getting into a brawl matchup, because we didn't get to see it because he was looking for the takedown so often. But if you face a guy who's trying to strike with you, how do you welcome that?
Oh, like again, it's one of those things that like these guys want to strike now just because they think I'm a striker, and then I can change it up on them, and I'm the one that's taking them down. They think it's going to be a striking fight. All of a sudden, we're exchanging punches, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm underneath one of your punches, and you're going for a ride, and I'm just mauling you from the top position. So, it's always that type of game with everybody that tries to figure out your strategy. And that's why I keep, those little secrets in my back pocket sort of thing. So, who knows? Maybe I do let the next wrestler sort of take me down, and then I get to show, how well I can play off my back sort of thing. Who knows?
So yeah, looking at the fight, like look at if you've got something in your back pocket there with the grappling, submissions, or maintaining top, I'm looking forward to that, because the way your striking has looked is just phenomenal. You threw double the amount of strikes than him, and you landed 5 times more than him. So like, wow. I want to ask this is because it's like, is it a little bit in a way, I shouldn't say frustrating, but is it just like, do sometimes you want to commit to just having a brawl with somebody, and then you see him trying to push you to the cage and angle in for a takedown? Is it kind of frustrating in a way to see that?
No, I completely understand. Like when you're getting your face jabbed off, you don't want to be there anymore. I completely understand why you'd want to go for a shot, vice versa. When I was fighting Jalen, like I didn't want to be on the outside getting my face jabbed off. So every single time I committed to a shot, I tried to get in on him and try to fight from the inside. But obviously it doesn't work out that way. So I don't get too much frustrated about him trying to push me up against the cage. Like if that's what he was trained to do, that's what he was trained to do. You can't, for him, it might have been too hard for him to change up the game plan for him. All of a sudden, his takedown fails. All of a sudden he's going to turn into a really crisp striker and try to, jab along with me and try to play the outside game with me, where I'm taller and I've got a longer reach in him. For me, if I was him, I completely understand like that was his game plan if he tried to do that. So
yeah, then talking about your next fight, obviously it's not booked yet, but you said September, October, November was the dates you wanted to return. Is there any opponent in mind? I know it's a long shot. You probably don't have an opponent in mind, but by any chance, do you?
I do have an opponent. I want the Chase Super fight. I've wanted this Chase Super fight for a long time. I wanted it since right after my fight with Jordan. I feel like he's good. Don't get me wrong. His jiu-jitsu is amazing, but I just the way he's pulled out, like, I don't know how he does it. He just gets out of these bad situations where he's getting battered, and he just gets these submissions. And I'm just like, man, props to the kid. But I like that. I like the Chase Super fight. I feel like it's another fight that for me would raise my stock. I think he's got a lot of hype behind him, and for me to get a fight like with him, it would just raise me up the ranks pretty quickly as well. So, if I beat a fan favorite, I become that fan favorite. So it'll be, that'd be a fight that I'd like, or if not, a rematch with Jourdain. So eventually, I feel like maybe me and Jourdain will fight down the line again, because of the whole controversy with the whole draw. But yeah, anybody, I'm happy to fight anybody. So
I love it. Those are two fights that I would pay to see easily. So yeah, then I wanted to mention this because I mentioned to you before we started the recording, is how I watched the fight with my girl, and we watched your post-fight interview, and like my girlfriend's right beside me, and she points out how you were saying how I told you so to your girlfriend, and
yeah.
I watched your explanation on exactly what that was about, and I appreciated it so much. So I want to give you another opportunity to explain it to the fans.
Okay. So my girlfriend suffers from I guess most girlfriends would suffer from anxiety, not obviously not wanting to see their partner get beat up. And this is what I chose to do. This is the sport that I'm actually good at. So yeah, so I've been with her for 4 years now, and every single time I've fought, she's always had some pretty bad anxiety, and I've always said to her after every fight, like, you don't have to worry about me. I trained so hard for this fight. You should be worried about the other guy. And so I said to her, I go, look, at the end of this, I'm gonna look at the camera, and I'm gonna say I told you so. So I just FaceTimed the day before, like I always do. I go, I'm going to say the exact same thing. I'm going to look right in the camera, and it's going to be a message for you. And you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I should have just believed him. Like, I know how hard he trains. So it was one of those things, just a little secret message between me and her, where I said to her, I told you so. You don't have to worry about me. I'm good. I train hard, and, you just got to believe in me. I know it's tough sitting there. You can't really do much when your partner's fighting, but yeah, I told you so.
I appreciate telling the story again, man. But so since your past fight into now, you've had a birthday and an anniversary, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Those have
Yeah.
been the same. Just talk to me. How was the birthday? How was the anniversary? How was it?
So after the fight, we left the UFC bubble, and we went to go hit up the Las Vegas Strip. We just walked up and down the Strip, just experiencing, taking it all in. Unlucky that there was no dance clubs open, so we couldn't really go out dancing. We still did have a few drinks, but it wasn't what I was expecting. I was still expecting like a full crazy nightlife dancing, So, but we didn't really get to party like that. And then obviously on our way back, because Australia is ahead of time, when we flew back, I missed my birthday while we were in the air. So while we were flying, my birthday was basically happening in Australia while we were in the air. So, then when we landed, it was the day.
You missed the entire
I missed the complete birthday.
Wow.
On the plane, yeah, because it takes 13 hours, and we flew back. We flew back from Los Angeles, and because we're going back, the time is still going forward in Australia. So by the time we landed, it's the next day. In Australia. So it was, yeah.
That's
so
great.
I missed that, and then also now I missed my anniversary with the missus. So is what is, sacrifices, I guess.
So just quick,
but
how many times have you made that trip from USA, Australia, any sort of trip like that?
No, it's the first time I've been to the States, and it's,
really?
It was crazy. First time I've been to the States, yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole Vegas experience was new to me. The whole, the American accent was whole new to me. Everything, the way they serve everything, the way that you tip when you pay, it's like everything to me was all brand new. So the way you guys drive on the other side of the road, everything was new. So it's a cool experience.
So yeah, and you're still in quarantine. How many days are you in quarantine so far? You get 14, right?
I'm halfway. Yeah, I'm halfway right now.
Halfway. So what do you guys typically get up to when you're in quarantine there?
Wake up whenever I want to wake up, and then I do my first training session, and then again I just scroll on Instagram, play on my PlayStation, try to kill time, Netflix, and then I'll do another training session again, and then and then just
PlayStation.
What's that, sorry?
What games you playing on the PlayStation?
Warzone right now. And then I usually play like a lot of one player games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla and that samurai game, like Ghost of Tsushima or something. Forget the name of it.
We'll
But
save
it's
it for
samurai
after.
games.
I might have to get that username, but we'll save that for after for sure. So just asking again about flying, going that long of a trip, because I'm from Canada and I want to go to Australia someday. It's actually my girlfriend and I's dream to go down to Australia. How is that? Because I've been on planes so many times and I'm terrified of flying. And so just explain to me that trip, just going all the way, like what you said, it's 13 hours.
Yeah, but the thing is, what's really good about this whole, I know this whole COVID situation is a bit full on, but the real good thing about this whole COVID situation and flying internationally, especially to Australia, is that there's nobody on the flights. So like, I think in total, we had like 20 people on the flight, and this flight was like we could spread out. We could like lay down in the middle row. Everybody had their own row where they could lay down. And it was just basically like, yeah, it was basically like a business class trip without it, paying business class. You're still in economy, but you get to lay down, it's so much space. You don't have to worry about anybody. And it's a little bit annoying that you have to sleep when you're on the plane. You have to sleep with the mask on. But other than that, everything else is like, it's pretty easy, to be honest. Just fall asleep for the whole 12, 13-hour trip, however long it was.
For sure. So obviously next time you come back for a fight, or maybe even it's on that side of the world, who knows? But next time you do fight, I think there's a good chance that there'll be fans there. How excited are you for that?
Where, in Australia?
Just to have the fans back in general, just to be fighting in front of the fans again.
Oh yeah, man. I'd love to fight for the fans again. Fill out a whole stadium. That'll be so cool to fight in front of a whole stadium. All my friends, all my family, just unreal. Like, I do hope they start opening it up, and we can start getting fans again. So
on the pay-per-views, it was just crazy. Even at home, watching the fights at home, it's just so you forgot how much juice there is. I can only imagine.
Exactly.
Again, talking about Australia and talking about fighting, the Ultimate Fighter's coming back, and you got your boy Alexander Volkanovski as the coach. So I wanted to ask you about this.
Yeah.
Volkanovski was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he said that Ortega was acting a little bit fake on the Ultimate Fighter. Knowing Volkanovski personally, how do you expect him to react to that sort of scenario where a person's being that way to him?
I don't know if you know Alex's coach, but man, Alex is tough skin. So like any banter, that's normal to us Australians. Any sort of shit talking, any belittling, any teasing, all that shit is normal to us Australians. That's like an everyday. You grow up doing that. That's like your everyday. I don't know. It's like just what you do as kids. Even as you grow up older, it's just like you do that with your best friends. You talk shit. You tease your best friends. You try to hit the sweet spot with them. And Alex is a very tough-skinned person, and if you know Alex's coach Joe, he's like the next level of that banter. So I don't think anything Brian will say or do that will get under Alex's skin, because we grow up teasing the shit out of each other and mocking each other our whole lives. So I don't think it's gonna be a big deal if Brian says anything or does anything, to be honest.
So that fight in general, do you have a prediction for it? How do you think that fight's gonna go?
And if Max did what he did to Ortega, just imagine what Alex would do to Ortega. I know they say styles make fights, and the only real way I see it, Brian winning is by some, Hail Mary submission, something he throws up, a jumping guillotine, jumping flying triangle, something that's just gonna catch Alex off guard. But I don't see Brian winning any other way than a Hail Mary submission.
Yeah, it's kind of in a weird situation right now, because you got obviously Holloway and Volkanovski fought twice now, and then you got Ortega, who obviously a few years ago just got destroyed by Holloway, and it's like now Ortega's just skipping the line there, and he's going up to Volkanovski, and it's just a weird situation, because if Volkanovski wins against Rodriguez, do we see a trilogy? It's like with Volkanovski winning both, it's just a weird scenario. But I want to ask you about this. Just we're talking about Australia. Man, Volkanovski, Taito Ivasa, Jimmy Crew. It's like all you guys are just. It's just totally. You guys are like warriors. Even yourself. It's just what is it like that? I'm a Canadian. I'm out here saying sorry to people and all that. That's all we're known for. But for me, from my side, you guys are just warriors. What's going on there? How can I be a part of that?
I don't know. I think it's just one of those things that I think growing up in Australia, it's just one of those things that you just, you know, you're always involved in sort of uh, some physical sport, you know, or what type of school you go to is sort of like most of these schools are very rugged here. So, and like I said, a lot of shit talking, a lot of like banter, you know, sometimes that can turn, you know, violent real quickly, especially growing up as kids, because you take it the wrong way and, you know, so I think just, yeah, I don't know, or just the way we're raised, I guess. We're not all the same, but, you know, I think it's just one of those things that we're the way you were raised. And the Australian culture is, like I said, is a very tough culture. We're very, you know, we're laid back, but we're also very, you know, very competitive with what we do. So
Just a different breed out there. So I just got two more questions for you, man. I'll let you get on your way, but I want to ask you this. I've named a couple Australian fighters. I want to ask you personally, who's a guy that you think that people need to watch out for coming out of Australia, other than yourself, obviously.
my boy Jamie Malaki, that dude is a fucking killer. That
Yeah.
dude is a killer. One of the toughest rounds. One of my toughest rounds. We've been training together for close to 8 years now, when we were both amateurs, and we always said to each other, whenever we make it to the UFC, we'll fight on the same card, blah blah blah. But yeah, he's always been someone that I've looked up, like, this guy's gonna be something special. And yeah, he's just making his way now. You know, you guys just seen it with that knockout he had over Karma Worthy. So
Yeah.
my boy Jamie, he's something else. If you guys want to keep your eye out, keep your eye out on him. And there's a good team around Robert Whitaker with Jacob Malkoon and Issy Ducks. So those guys are coming up too. So there's a lot of good fighters coming out of Australia, and you know, I can't wait for all of them to start shining as well. So.
Well, man, I appreciate you taking the time talking to me. It was just awesome. I was so confident in you winning this weekend. When you got it done, I was like, I got to talk to him. So it's great to have the chance to talk with you, man. I appreciate it. Keep it up, man.
Thank you.
And just going to ask you one
Thank
last
you.
thing. If there anybody who's watching this who doesn't know who you are before today, what can they expect the next time they watch you fight?
Masterclass performance. Hit and don't get hit. That is the name of the sport. I know most fans want to see both us bloodied and you know, cut up, bruised, and my opponent's cut up and bruised, and we're banging it all the way to the third round till the final bell goes. But you know, I'm a smart fighter. I hit and don't get hit. As you can see from my last fight, there's nothing wrong with me. No scars, no, you know, stitches, no bruising. I'm fine. I could fight again. So for me, it's about the masterclass performance, where I'm completely outclassing these guys, and they don't know what to do when I'm doing it. So expect masterclass performance.
Like I said, man, I appreciate it. You're a warrior. Congratulations on the win, the birthday, the anniversary, everything. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, man.
Thank you.